by joining the team of the person that beat you, I think shows, you know, that AJ's not being ruled by his ego. Whereas if you're too egoic and too, you know, self-centered, you go, no, I don't need them, I'm gonna show them that I'm better than them. But to be, you know, gracious and go, I need to learn from the people that can. I think that shows a maturity and an acceptance of that he needs more help, which I think is a strength as opposed to a weakness.
Because I think if I'm gonna do this, I've got to find ways to improve. So it's important for one to kind of drop his ego and surround himself with good soldiers that have achieved more. So whatever it takes, I'm willing to do, basically. I'm just hungry.
As Anthony Joshua prepares for Kristian Prenga, his final training session with Oleksandr Usyk is already turning heads across the boxing world.
Yeah, good.
If you're hungry enough, you'll find yourself in the right place. If you're not hungry enough, you'll find yourself in wherever you find yourself. But this is where I found myself because I definitely believe I got that hunger.
Joshua's amateur coach, Sean Murphy, revisited the past during his gym visit, then introduced a specially designed punch bag.
This was designed for Tyson Fury. That's his chin there. So we brought that in just to practice. All the bags now what are hanging up, Josh provided them. He's just covered he put new ring covers on the rings. He refurbished the girls, the dressing room for the girls. Like at the end of every year we have awards, and we've got Josh here with one of our committee members. But this night Josh was like, we're just coming down to the finish. It's 12:30 and we're just finishing our drinks. And I mentioned, Josh, what are you doing now? And he said, oh, I'm going home. I said, yeah, well, don't forget, we're in the gym in the morning. It was a Sunday morning. We were going to go for Trent Park for a Sunday run.
Aimed at preparing AJ to attack Tyson Fury's chin. Training alongside Usyk helped Joshua realize success comes through discipline, not ego, while Hearn explained how those sessions even sparked Jake Paul's fight offer.
So it's important for one to kind of drop his ego and surround himself with good soldiers that have achieved more. So whatever it takes, I'm willing to do, basically. I'm just hungry.
You know, when he went back into camp with Usyk, the Jake Paul fight came, and it was like, wow, what a gift. Like, we need some kind of fight just to trial everything. Now we've got him. That fight happened, yeah, probably lasted a round or two more than we expected, but it was easy, and the profile of the fight was incredible. America loved him. You know, I remember sitting by the pool the next day, he had the biggest smile on his face. He's gone like, what a great experience. Like, you know, everyone was coming up to him around, AJ, we love you. And, you know, we left Miami.
Inside the camp, Joshua is embracing new training methods that are sharpening his mindset and transforming his physical condition, leaving him stronger and more prepared than ever.
Today was all mental, because I can do it. It was hard. Physically, it was challenging. But mentally, if I would have told myself, like, at any stage to stop, my body was happy to just give up. So I would say today was 80% mental. But it goes, there's easier days, but today, I think, when you have them tough days, it's all mental, and I had to approach the day with like a strong head on my shoulders, because today was very challenging physically. But it was the end of the week as well, right? You've done like a whole week of training. Towards the end of the week, your body's fatigued, but the coaches don't care, which is good with them, because they're saying it's just your emotions.
Joshua explained that the main purpose of this camp is to keep improving under Usyk's guidance, rather than relying on past success. He said working with Team Usyk has created the perfect environment to grow as a fighter, with everyone pushing each other to improve every day. Looking ahead, Joshua admitted he could easily see himself spending the next 4 or 5 years training alongside Team Usyk because of the trust, discipline, and atmosphere they have built together.
I can definitely get better, 100%. Because it's that experience as well. I know what I'm doing, and I've got people around me who know what they're doing. So coming together, I'm like, we can create some magic here. But I do think about it as well, and I actually want to get better. So that's my driving force at the minute is, yo, how much better can I get?
Do you still feel like you're getting better?
Yeah, this camp wasn't about anything other than improving my boxing skills. So like, let's get in camp and let's actually improve as a boxer. Not about getting fit, not about trying to prove anything to anyone and like asking myself why I'm here. I belong here and I think I can actually get better. If I put the work in, I can definitely improve as a fighter.
How long do you see yourself keeping going for?
This is the thing, it's like, I was thinking about that as well. It's, however long this environment remains happy.
After tragedy struck and 2 close friends were lost in a devastating accident, Joshua admitted the experience completely changed his perspective on life and boxing. Instead of asking why it happened, he chose to believe God spared him for a greater purpose. That belief has become his biggest source of motivation, driving him through every brutal training session as he chases one final goal, becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion before his career comes to an end.
How long did you go for, an hour or so?
An hour and a half. When you see me on 25th, you're going to be like, I know why now.
Coming for it all, man. Something extraordinary happens in your life and it shifts your whole perspective. And that doesn't take conditioning, that's just one moment. Something can happen, an event in someone's life could change their whole trajectory. So some people need conditioning, definitely. And that's the thing, everyone's running their own race, but you don't need to always condition. Some people just have that shot and their whole existence, their whole relation to life changes, man.
Well, I think to myself, God's given me time because he knows that I'm really focused on fighting.
Standing across the ring is Prenga, a challenger determined to ruin Joshua's path toward a blockbuster fight with Fury. He knows the odds are heavily stacked against him, but that has done nothing to shake his confidence. Backed by his power and self-belief, Prenga insists he has everything needed to pull off one of the biggest upsets in the heavyweight division.
I told him before too, it's not good to make a plan before God, bro. But only God, he can make a plan for you and for me and for everybody. And he make a plan before God to fight Tyson Fury. First, he need to fight me. How he know what's going on with me? I'm gonna cancel the fight.
How would that feel, beating AJ on Saturday and ruining one of the biggest fights of the century?
I don't know, we're gonna see Saturday.
Responding to the challenge, Joshua insisted there is a huge difference between talking and delivering inside the ring. He said every question will be answered on fight night when the first bell rings. Joshua believes Prenga is not the only one facing a difficult test, because he also has a mountain to climb. In the end, he says only the fighter who performs under pressure will walk away victorious.
We'll see if everything that people say, not just me, every fighter that comes through here, plus myself, live up to what we talk about. It's very difficult to live up to what you say about yourself. Because saying it and doing it, very two different things.
Because his manager at the press conference was very confident. I know you had a bit of a response to that. Do you think it's a case?
I watched him. I know what his manager says.
Do you think it's a case, like you say, like these guys are just sort of digging themselves a big hole?
They're already in a hole. So am I. We're both in a big hole. We'll just see who's managed to climb out of it. Yeah. But we're both in a hole. Yeah, definitely. We're both in a deep, deep hole.
Prenga is full of confidence, but Teddy Atlas believes he stands almost no chance against Joshua. Atlas pointed out that, while Prenga owns several knockout victories, they all came against limited opposition. According to him, facing a powerful and experienced heavyweight like Joshua is a completely different challenge. He believes Prenga has never dealt with that level of strength, skill, and pressure inside the ring.
He's a big guy. He matches Joshua a little bit in size. Maybe Joshua's 6'6", he's 6'5", whatever. But even with his 20 knockout, you said it right. They've been against really soft opposition. I mean, real soft, like liquid soft. I mean, soft. And I don't think that it really, truly. I don't think that it really measures his power, because of when you look. Well, a lot of times you look at the record and you see 20 knockouts in this case, right? In what, 21 fights, whatever it is.
Yeah, he's 20-1.
Yeah, you see 20 knockouts, you say, well, he's got to have power. Not always, because you got to look at what's he knocking out.
Taking the analysis a step further, Atlas insisted Joshua could end the fight within the opening 1 or 2 rounds if he sticks to the right game plan. He believes the outcome will depend largely on Joshua's mindset. If he decides to make a statement and press the action early, the fight could be over quickly. However, if he allows Prenga room to settle and trade, the contest may last several more rounds.
I guess we'll get a little bit of a feel for that in the fight, how he goes about it. Does he go about being aggressive? To me, if he backs him up behind that hard jab that he has and looks to set up the right hand and go to the body with that left hook he throws well, the fight ends in a round or two. It could, in a couple rounds, it could. If he doesn't, and he allows Prenga, who I think has legs that can move a little bit, let him move around a little bit, then it could go a few rounds. It can, again, I think it's his call. And where is he at? Where is he at mentally right now when he gets in that ring? I think that's what it's all about. And I guess we'll get a little bit of an idea of that, probably just by how he approaches the fight.
Speaking on the situation, Barry Hearn reflected on his recent visit to the gym and shared what impressed him the most. After watching Joshua's development up close, he said the hunger and focus were impossible to ignore. Hearn believes Joshua is preparing to make a real statement, adding that training alongside Usyk has given him a fresh level of motivation, discipline, and determination ahead of the fight.
2 friends died. Yes. He's obviously, feeling that in many ways he's been spared by the man upstairs for a bigger purpose, and his biggest purpose is unifying the heavyweight division. And that's, obviously, it's a complicated scenario, isn't it? But going back and doing things that he hasn't done before in a different environment with different people, I think has motivated him to say, I can be better. And when you've got a target, the money's nice, look, the money's great, but he's on another level. He's looking at making a statement, and Saturday he wants to start the process of saying, this is the new me. And it's exciting for boxing fans. It's a time I never thought for sure we'd actually see.
With Usyk in his corner, Gareth A. Davies expects Joshua to finish Prenga very early. He predicts Joshua will bulldoze through him within 1 round, or 2 at the very most. Davies says the comparison makes little sense. In his view, Paul is operating at a much lower level than Prenga, making the 2 matchups impossible to compare fairly.
Throw it out there right now. I think AJ bulldozes through him in a round, if not 2 rounds. Yes, there are risks, all of those kind of things, because Prenga can clearly punch, but AJ is a different level. I just think he blows him away.
Well, when you think of the brain trust, Gareth, they're not going to take a chance. And when you think of what they're trying to get to in terms of the Fury fight, they're not going to roll the dice and put him in a 50-50 or even an 80-20. They're just not going to do that. So I think you're right. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see AJ bank some rounds, a bit like the Jake Paul fight. I think, he could have stepped on Paul probably earlier than he did, but he was
Look at the comparison you're making, though. Jake Paul, the Jake Paul fight. I mean, it's so weird how we're talking about it,
While some expect a quick finish, others believe Joshua will take a more patient approach against Prenga. They think he may allow his opponent time to move, box, and show what he can offer before raising the pace. Instead of chasing a 1st or 2nd round knockout, these experts expect Joshua to break him down methodically, with the stoppage likely coming a few rounds later after complete control has been established.
Yeah, but I also think it's to do with AJ's mindset in the sense that you can't make a misstep when you're so close to the prize that he's close to. And I feel like, with AJ, and I know we've touched upon it earlier, with everything he's been through, including the tragedy in December, he's not going to jump on anyone. He's going to take some time. He's going to see where the land lies and, slowly start breaking Prenga down. When I say slowly, with the gap in class might mean that he does do that in 5 or 6 minutes, which will be a couple of rounds. But I don't see him being in a particular hurry. But obviously he's got that power and athleticism where if he does see the opportunity, then he'll just take someone out.
There have been far bigger moments in Joshua's career, and Nick Pete believes this fight brings very little pressure compared with those challenges. He highlighted Joshua's mindset, explaining that he has always viewed boxing as a sport built on respect rather than personal rivalry. According to him, Joshua never gets caught up in unnecessary bad blood, choosing instead to stay focused on performance and professionalism inside the ring.
I think his reputation, the losses, getting chinned by Dubois, I think he sees that as part of a sporting journey. And that's a great way to think about it, because you don't put yourself under too much pressure. So I think going into the fight this weekend, I think he'll be thinking, yeah, you know what, I'm going to enjoy it. I've probably got a handful of fights left at the most. None if he gets beat, but a handful of fights at the most. And I don't think he's scared of getting beat. I think he's scared of losing a fight anymore, AJ. And that puts him in a position where he doesn't put himself under too much pressure. So to answer your question, no, I don't think he's under anywhere near. I wouldn't even say this was top 10 pressurized moments of Anthony Joshua's career. That's my take on it anyway.
Adam Catterall believes Prenga's record is built more on hype than proven quality. According to him, winning 20 fights by knockout means very little unless those victories come against strong opposition. He argues greatness is defined by the level of competition a fighter faces. Nick agreed, describing the bout as a warm-up fight and predicting Joshua will slowly break Prenga down before securing a convincing stoppage victory.
Makes absolute sense as well. You know, it is what it is. It's a warm-up fight for AJ. It's a knock against the kid that's gonna show. I don't think he'll be ambitious, Kristian Prenga, but I think he'll have just enough ambition to allow AJ to take him apart and take him apart in style.
Is KO percentage the most overused stat in boxing when you're trying to pump a fight up, especially when you're talking about a fighter like Kristian Prenga? He's had 20 wins. He's had 20 knockouts. He's a dangerous, dangerous man. And then you go down that resume and you think, jeez, who's on this?
Nick went even further after reviewing several of Prenga's fights online. He claimed every opponent on Prenga's record looked well below a serious heavyweight standard and argued none of them would trouble top-level contenders. Without trying to offend Albanian boxing, Nick said many of those fights were against poor opposition, adding that bold talk means very little until it is backed up against elite competition.
Like, I'm struggling at the moment. I'm on going an oldie in a couple of weeks and I could do with losing a few pounds, but I didn't see a single opponent of the guys I looked at with Kristian Prenga that was in better shape than me, which highlights the fact that he's a club level fighter. Kristian Prenga is classic, I'm going to offend an entire nation here, classic Albanian. Wonderful nation, super proud, fighting men, wonderful backstory of war and triumph over adversity, and they all carry that double-headed eagle with pride. Yeah, man, we are fighting men from Albania. The only problem with Albania is the shit at boxing across the board. The fucking rubbish. After generations of fighters, they're rubbish. The best fighters ever out of Albania, boxers out of Albania, were the Krasniki brothers. That's about it. Neither of them.
What about Florian Marcoux?
Joshua, on the other hand, does not view this as a warm-up or tune-up fight. He insists that Prenga is another opponent standing in his way, and he will treat him with the same seriousness. Joshua says he does not know how everything will play out, but the only thing he controls is his preparation and his desire to win. He believes that mindset will define what happens on fight night.
Do you see this as a tune-up fight, or do you treat this like the biggest challenge of your career?
I don't see it as the biggest challenge of my career, but I don't see it as a tune-up fight either. It's a fight. You got to believe in yourself, man. I'm working hard. I've got to say what I feel. I want to win. I want to do what I'm supposed to do. So it's nothing personal against Prenga. It could be anyone. It's not a warm-up fight. It's someone I really want to beat. I want to do it in good fashion as well. I want to go in there and showcase my skills. That's what this camp's about, is improving my skills. I want to go in there and show how good I am.
Do you have a prediction for the fight for me?
Nah. Only God knows. Only God. I'm just working towards a victory. But predicting how that victory comes, I don't have a clue. He used to be a kickboxer, actually.
Anthony Joshua's next chapter is about to begin, and the pressure, expectations, and doubts are all waiting inside the ring. Will Joshua prove that Usyk's guidance has created a stronger version of him, or can Prenga shock the world? Share your prediction below, and make sure to subscribe for more heavyweight updates and breaking boxing stories.